Fun Facts presents the 1954 Oldsmobile F-88 Roadster. It is a 50's classic car, and it was a concept car developed in 1954. This thing looks pretty bitchin'. I'm excited. I hope you're excited, and let's get started now. In the 50's, there once was a 1954 Oldsmobile F-88 Roadster. Harley Earl, Bill Mitchell, Ken Pickering, and Zora Duntov were creating a roadster for Oldsmobile. They began the project by designing several show cars which were breathtaking and daring, especially compared to the Oldsmobile aesthetic. Due to the poor sales of the Corvette, the car which inspired these GN concepts, the F-88 project, was canceled at the conceptual phase. Before that time, however, 4 very unique Oldsmobiles were completed. At the 2005 Barrett-Jackson auction, the sole surviving F-88 concept car sold for $3,240,000. The General Motors concept car lasted through a fierce bidding war to become the highest selling car ever at the Barrett-Jackson auction, and this was in 2005. Wow. Impressive car. Love it. It's been 15 years, it's been 18 years since the Oldsmobile brand ceased to exist in 2004. It was, until then, the oldest active American car maker. It had been founded by Ransom Eli Olds back in 1897. That's right. Olds became Oldsmobile. It was as simple as that. More recently, in the May of 2017, to be precise, Chevrolet in the city of Gateway, Colorado, the occasion was the launch of the ZR2 version of the truck that carried America's state's name. We were lodged quiet in the middle of nowhere. Was an automotive museum packed with incredible vehicles. And there it was. I was introduced to this remarkable and little known car. While I'd been aware of its existence, I honestly never thought I would encounter it up close and in the flesh, so to speak. Here's the story. The concept of the concept car. In 1954, Oldsmobile wowed car shows with futuristic concept cars that it gave the name the F-88. It had enraptured visitors to the shows, at which it was the top attraction. 6 decades later, it's still on display and still as captivating for those who have the opportunity to see it and who invariably shake their heads with that if only feeling. Now, concept cars, as a rule, have held a mesmerizing sway over car lovers over the decades. They open a window onto the future and provide the idea of what manufacturers have up their sleeves. A concept is also a dream maker. Over the decades, some prototypes have become famous, while others, most in fact, slowly sink into oblivion. In the case of the F-88, it has escaped the latter fate and traveled the years in the possession of wheel-heeled collectors who helped ensure its preservation. Motorama. In 1954, Oldsmobile showed up with 2 concept cars at GM's Motorama, an annual event meant to showcase products made by GM Motors. 1 year earlier, visitors to the show had seen Chevrolet present a new car that went by the name of Corvette. The vehicle's debut is not coincidental to the presentation of the Oldsmobile concept car a year later. The F-88, originally given the name XP20, was built on a Chevrolet Corvette chassis, which goes a long way to explaining the resemblances between the two models. Both in terms of format and of styling, was Oldsmobile considering the notion of producing a roadster of its own. Take a look at the two models and you have your probable answer. The vehicle was developed in secrecy and conjointly with the Corvette in 1952 and 1953. Under the hood, the concept came with the Oldsmobile 324 V8 engine, known popularly as the Rocket. It was wedded to a 4-speed automatic transmission. Perhaps the most incredible thing about this car is that it survived at all. Over the years, manufacturers often choose to destroy concept vehicles once they have been shown at auto shows. At this time, however, attitudes were changing, were starting to change, and some prototypes ended up in the hands of close friends or family and thus were spared obliteration. In fact, once the 1954 car show season had run its course, this Oldsmobile was dismantled. Eventually, it came into possession of the famed E.L. Cord, the man behind magnificent cars produced during the 1920s and 30s. The Olds F-88 ended up at his home in a box, ready to be assembled anew. Over the next few decades, it changed hands several times, sometimes for as little as $1,000. Finally, it was restored by one of its owners in the 1990s. It appeared in public once again at the Barrett-Jackson auction during that decade, and one last time in 2005. It was on that occasion acquired by John S. Hendricks. The amount he paid for it, $3 million, which was mere pocket change for the man, but known as the founder of the Discovery Channel. The car was then brought to Hendricks Gateway Automotive Museum in Colorado, and that is where I encountered it. It was my turn to stand before this creation in admiration. Those who remember the market introduction of the first generation Chevy Corvette C1 in 1953 will likely also remember a similar car that debuted as a concept from the General Motors division. The vehicle in question is the Oldsmobile F-88 convertible concept, sometimes referred to as the Rocket 88, and it made its debut as an Autorama Dream concept car in 1954. The F-88 was penned by none other than Harley Earl, and just like the Vet, it was a 2-seat roadster with a fiberglass body, but unlike the C1, which was powered by a rather measly 150 horsepower Blue Flame inline 6 matted to a 2-speed Powerglide gearbox for the first 2 years of its existence, the F-88 cradled a 324 cubic inch Oldsmobile Rocket V8, making a brawny 250 horses. And it was never put into production. The consensus back in the 50s and even today is that the F-88 wasn't built since it would have threatened the Corvette. And as legend goes, Chevy's, GM's biggest and most profitable division at the time, and even today, campaigned within GM against bringing the F-88 to the market due to the concerns that the Olds would hurt sales of the Corvette. which might not have been as attractive as an Olds, but with a big old V8 under the hood, so the General decided against bringing the F-88 to market. And as history would have it, only 2 copies of the F-88 concept were ever assembled. One was destroyed, while the other was dismantled and its parts stored in a wooden crate, and the rest was history until recently. And then on February 1st, 2005, the only remaining example of the F-88 concept, a golden convertible, sold for a whopping $3.24 million to John and Maureen Hendricks at the Barrett-Jackson Auto Auction in Scottsdale, Arizona. Mr. Hendricks is the founder and chairman of the broadcasting and film production company Discovery Communications that owns the Discovery Channel, TLC, and the Animal Planet cable TV networks, among other ventures. While most of their breathin' were destroyed after their debuts at GM's Motorama shows, the gold-tone Olds survived this fate to become one of the most historically significant vehicles of its era, said Craig Jackson, president and CEO of the classic car auction company Barrett-Jackson. Many automobile historians consider this Roadster to be one of the greatest expressions of automotive design to ever come from North America. Okay, well, if you found yourself this far into the video, we'd certainly like to thank you for taking the time out of your day to watch our video. And if you like our video, please give us a thumbs up. It really does help our channel. And if you like our channel, please subscribe, because we'll be doing all the concept cars from the 50s and 60s, the muscle cars, the sports cars. We'll be doing the autoramas and the car shows and the hot rods. So a little bit of everything for everybody. And we'll look forward to seeing you when we upload our next video. And take care always. Thank you.